Natalie, and this is my individual presentation for Trippy. As an admin, I want to be the only user that can access the Remove FAQ Items button to this page so that the information is correct. So to do that, we used the directive vif. So if you are an admin, vif is conditional rendering. The directive is used to conditionally render a block. The block will only be rendered if the directive's expression returns a truth value. So isAdmin here, that calls that method, and if the role equals admin, that then turns to true, and then we can see a visible button. As an admin, I want to be the only user that can access the Add FAQ Items field so that the information is correct. Same process here, using vif to conditionally render if it is true. So we call that method, check to see if you are an admin. If so, that's true, and that field is visible. Able to display the added FAQ items on the page so that I can see the correct information displayed. So here we use the mounted hook with our FAQ list, and this is used in the lifecycle of Vue. Vue calls the mounted hook whenever your component is added to the document object modeling. It's most often used to send an HTTP request to fetch data that the component will then render. So that's what we're doing here. We use this route to fetch the information from the database in the backend. So once we get that information, we then filter those FAQs by their ID and display them one by one with these two fields. As an admin, I want to be able to add a question and an answer so that the information is displayed in a readable manner. So this just means that I broke up the FAQ into two fields. What that is using is data binding syntax, using DOM, document object model, base template implementation. This means that all Vue templates are essentially valid, parsable HTML enhanced with some special attributes. The mustache tag will be replaced with the value of the message property on the corresponding data object. It will also be updated whenever the data object's message property changes. So that the mustache syntax is what we use to display these two fields. As an admin, I want to be able to delete FAQ items so that if they are needing to be removed, they are removed from the list. So what this is using is event handling. We use the vion directive to listen to the DOM events and run JavaScript whenever they're triggered. So vion click, whenever the button is clicked, that calls this method delete FAQ. And by the ID, we are able to route and grab or find that FAQ with an Axios call to the backend, and then remove that information from the database. As an admin, I want to see a message that states the field is empty so that I know I need to correctly enter in data for submitting an FAQ. So this was used or created by using Vulidate. For each value you want to validate, you have to create a key inside validations option. You can specify when input becomes dirty by using appropriate event on your input box. Note in this example, the red border, red text, and error message visibility are driven by the presence or absence of the form group error we have here. So the required validation means that the field has to have something written in it. You can see that example here. We're using vif, so if this validation is not met, the required validation, then this error will pop up that this field is required. As an admin, I want to see a message saying that I have entered too many characters so that I do not submit incorrect data. This is very similar using Vulidate. Using those validations, we picked a minimum length of 50 characters. We're using vif, so if this is not met here, then this error will pop up in a field like this. As an admin, I want to be able to see a message stating I have not entered in enough characters so that I do not submit incorrect data. Similar, using Viewlidate and validations, we're using max length here of 100 characters, and then if this has not met this requirement, this form error is showed in a field like this. And that concludes my individual presentation.